don't know. Can you click the pause again?
We are live. Yeah, if you just shift a little bit to the middle, then we're fine. But we're live now. You're looking good. Yeah. So I'm just starting with the Whitney Houston song.
Okay.
Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride. Let the children fly. Everybody's searching for a hero. Want to love. I never found anyone who fulfilled my needs along the way. So I learned to depend on me. I discovered never to walk in anyone's shadow. It's not fair if I succeed. At least I live as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my destiny. It's all so great. Unlovable. It's happening to me.
The famous one.
I know. Great. Love inside of it's learning to love yourself. It is a great love. What a way to start today, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to an interview with Miranda OBEN. Thank you all for joining in this evening. It is Saturday, the 11th of April, 2020. And the world is undergoing a very serious lockdown. It is a pandemic. It's a crisis. In the crisis, we find opportunities. In the crisis, we're able to connect with the world virtually. And I've had some amazing guests with me, starting from Boya through Douala to Canada to Luxembourg, France, the UK, the USA. Hey, you name it. It is a pleasure for me to welcome you all here. Every evening, 7 p.m. German time, 6 p.m. UK time, and 6 p.m. Cameroon time. So today with me, we'll be talking about pedagogy. We'll be talking to a mom and a pedagogue, someone who knows what it is like to bring up children, who knows what it takes to teach children. So today, starting with Whitney Houston, the greatest love of all, we teach the children to love themselves, just like we love them, right? So I'm very, very excited to have an amazing guest with me today. She has been a mom, a sister, an aunt, everything, a grandmom to our son. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me today, Patience Gwekala Atanga. Hello, Mapi.
Thank you, Mira. Thank you, Mira. Thank you so much. You flattered me with all the beautiful words and everything. I'm so humble. Thank you for giving me this invitation. And honestly, the day you called me, I wasn't really, I was so like, oh, can I do it? Can I do this at this moment? Because, you know, like I told you, I've been sick for a while. I think I've been home for the past 3-4 months now. But given that, I mean, there are some people when they call you, you know that it's a matter of urgency. So you have to address the issue. So I had to say yes to come on live with you. I hope that it's going to be interesting. It's good. I hope it's going to, I mean, I'll be able to give out some little information that can pacify the parents out there, that can, you know, that can help and foster your work is, of course, forward. So I'm quite privileged to be here today with you, and thank you so much.
The privilege is all ours. Trust me, my team and I were very excited when you said yes. We understand that you've been down, you've been sick, but then, like you said, there are some phone calls which, when they come through, you know how important it is. With what you carry, the fact that you've brought up two beautiful young girls in the German society, the fact that you always give the young mothers advice on what to do in the German community. My team and I were very excited to have you on this program today. So we will share a 45 minutes to 1 hour session with you. Questions can come through, but trust me, we already have so many questions listed from the team and a few others who knew you will be here. First greeting comes there from Are Bate. He said, I decided I'll drop the first comment. He's been waiting to log on today. So, Mape, before we even go on to the details of our discussion today, when we hear a mom and a pedagogue, what is pedagogy? What is it all about?
Yes, Mira, thanks for that question. I am a pedagogue, and pedagogy, social pedagogy, has to do with the well-being of children from the time they are small to adolescent and sometimes up to adults. So it just means we figure out the possibility to secure their well-being. When I'm talking about securing their well-being, we're talking about fostering the possibility of fostering education, social and educational development. Personal development, because in order for a child or somebody or a child to really grow to attain its highest potential growth, we need to foster all of these, and it is in our hands as pedagogue.
Right. So thank you for that. You'll be sharing tips and advice with parents. You'll be having discussions. We'll get questions coming. But before we go to that, we know the world is facing this kind of unprecedented situation. The COVID-19 is causing this lockdown, which has made children to be at home at the moment. What tips, what would you tell the parents as we sit here? What is the pedagogic approach which can be used by parents to foster their children's education at home?
Thank you for that question again. I think as a parent, first of all, I understand the very difficult situation we are in now. It's quite trying, very challenging, because nobody ever expected that something like this will happen, that will need us to address immediately. We need spontaneous reactions. And as a parent, I understand exactly how frustrating that can be, because suddenly, the routine that we used to have and the fact that we knew that our children were at school, everything has changed. But let me just say, the first thing I'm going to say is it's very important for children to have a structure, to have a routine, because what we have at the moment, it's not like the normal holidays or vacation, like the summer holidays, like the Easter vacations, like all the holidays that we usually have. This is something else. So it is important for us to have a structure and a routine, because at the end of the day, as God's children, for those who believe, that we know that we're hoping that this thing will come to an end. And when it comes to an end, automatically our children should not have a deficit. We need to look at it from different angles. Our children should profit something during this period. So the first thing for parents to do is to come up with a clear structure and a clear routine. When I talk clear structure and routine, what do I mean by this? It is important that we know that there are bedtime, the wake up time, there is school time, and the environment for the children, even if it means that it's just a small corner, we should keep that corner quite, I don't know how you're going to put it. That corner should be friendly for school, so that our children should still feel like they are in school. We have to reinforce some kind of discipline, so that the children understand that even though we are not in school at this moment, we still have everything under control. Our parents still have everything under control. We have to have selected topics, and if it is possible, we do this routine or structure with the children, so that the children are part of it. When you get them involved, they understand that, okay, this is why we are doing it. This is the importance, because when you're doing it, you explain to them the importance of having a clear structure, of having a clear routine, so that they don't, when it's time for them to go to bed, bedtime, or for them to wake up, or time to take snack, they will not ask questions. So that is the reason why we have to have a clear structure. You will agree with me that without a structure, nothing would function. We have the privilege now to experience what teachers have been experiencing. I feel, of course, for the parents, I'm also a parent, I feel very much, but then we need to have some level of discipline. We need to reinforce that discipline, so that children, they don't miss it out when eventually things get better, and they go back to school.
Right. So you mentioned the discipline, which is important. I know a lot of parents fight now with really separating the school life from the home life so the children can get that structure. So you reinforce that again and insist that the parents maintain that discipline and follow the structure so the children can follow, have a way about their day, know that there is still a schedule going about this. So it'll be easy to go back to school. But now, looking at the activities that parents and kids should have, what type of activities can parents suggest to their kids during this crisis, because they have to just be home?
I think before I answer that question, maybe I'll still go back to the first question again, because we have a lot of things to talk about, playtime and all of that. We have many things to talk about. But let me go back to the first question again. I think it's very important that when you set a structure, it's good that you have to set goals that are realistic. You have to set goals for every day, so that at the end of the day, if you attend as a parent or as a team, I wouldn't say as a parent, as a team made up of parents and children, if we attend our goals, and then we can actually give ourselves a pat on the back, so that the children, they know that they've done something that has brought in, maybe that kind of a motivation, or maybe that kind of a motivation from the parents. So in order to do those things, it's also very good. I just want to go back to this, so that we don't overload our children, because I have heard many parents, they're kind of like scared, talking about, suddenly our children cannot learn again. I mean, it's important that we make them to understand that everything happens for good, and then we have to make the best out of it. So we have to set very short, small, and realistic goals, so that children will understand that they can do something good. So coming on to the kind of games, or what kind of activities we can do. So we can start by story times, telling our stories. My mother is here. I'm just privileged. I'm just lucky that my own mother is here. So we are a 3-generation family in the house. So we have little plays, like my mother tells us how they used to play when they were small. And also I tell the children also how our own play, what kind of games, we use this opportunity for our mother to tell us. My mother told us as a team now, or as a family, how she grew up. And also me, I use the chance to tell my children my own story, how I grew up, how I met their father, how amazing it was, and all of this. Because the idea is just to make the children understand. I mean, some of those things that we're not able to look for time and talk to our children, now we have the opportunity. So we have many activities that we can do. Like everybody, you can bear with me time and again, want to put on one particular dress, and then you realize that dress needs just a little stitch. How can we teach these children just to put a needle and stitch our dresses? So that is a wonderful thing. You don't need many things. You don't need so much to do. And those amazing things that children would like to do, because if they know that this dress like this that is done, I can stitch it and still wear it. I mean, that's something great. And we can also teach our children. This is an opportunity to play many games, like using our own small puzzles. I mean, be it puzzles that we can, and boards, we bring them on, and then we play those games with our children. But the most important thing is to make our children to understand that this moment they have to enjoy it gracefully, because it's not a moment to feel bad. So we have to always figure out how to start the day in an amazing way that the children will love. For instance, as a mother, I would advise parents that if we want to have a smooth day, because this day is made up of a day at school, a day, a play day, programs. I mean, all of that is inside. So we have to figure out a day how to make those the day look so interesting. So maybe sometime I'll advise parents that you can start the day off by giving children breakfast in bed, because when you give them that breakfast in bed, they know that, oh, come on, this is something lovely that my mother has done. It means that, I have to collaborate, I have to integrate, you know. So another way we can use is to watch movie, to know the interest of the children, because
Right.
most often parents don't even know the interest of the children. They don't even know what the children love. The children, they talk about a lot of movies. It's a time for us now to get into their world, to know how they think, how they feel. And one of the means that we can use is to join them in a movie session, a movie of their choice. Listen to them. It's an opportunity for you as a mother also to learn German. For
Right.
those who are here in Germany, yes, you can decide that we are going to communicate basically only in German. And children, you can learn amazingly well, when you're speaking German with children. So this is an opportunity to tell the children that you are also teachers and we want to learn. So maybe there's a classroom, a play classroom, that they are going to play teachers and they teach us also German. And then another one, like I said, it's an opportunity for us to learn a second language. We all understand that the world is made up of, it's an English world, it's a French world, or whatever, or even your dialect or your own language. We've been so busy that we never had time. Personally, I think that's one of the biggest mistakes I ever made. I never took up time to teach my children the dialect. So this is the opportunity we are trying to learn it. And I'm hoping that at the end of the day, by the end of this coronavirus, my children or my girls will be able to speak somewhat in Queen and speak some other, maybe somewhat also in French. So it's actually an opportunity. It's actually supposed to add up. I know, I understand it's quite frustrating that at one point you used to just go to work, come back home. I know mothers are quite used to, double task. Mothers are used to that, So we go to work, come back, we still do all of this. But this is a moment where, we are all in one room. It's not easy. And now we are four of us. It means we need to be very, very patient with one another. So there are some values that are being put to taste. So, and there are some other values that we need to now practice. Discipline. How can you stay home without opening the fridge to pick out some sweet things to eat? So that's the task that we have as parents. Maybe we have to prepare some healthy snacks,
Right.
like, broccoli or whatever, put on top of the tables. That time again, children can pick and eat. So we have a range of activities. We can dance.
Dancing, yes.
Dancing. And when I'm talking about dance, it's not like we're going to be spectators and cheer the children up. No, we have to take
dance with the children.
So we dance with them and then teach us how to dance. And we will teach them how to dance, because I know if you put some of these coupe, I don't know what they love quite much. I might not know how to dance. So I will teach them my own traditional way of dancing, and they're going to teach us also. And one important thing, something that just came into my mind, it has nothing now to do with the games, but if you enter every African family kitchen, you'll find spices that if you put here, I can swear on my own, most children would not even know their names.
Know the spices.
The spices, and these are the typical African spices that today, even in the world of medicine, it's been proven that most of those spices are also medicinal. This is a time for us, through games, we take those spices and teach them the names, teach them how it is called, and teach them the use of it.
Great. You have so many ideas. I believe you can actually write an encyclopedia of the lots of things parents can do with their children now. So when they're clueless, I'm requesting everyone, If you can call Mape, send her messages, let her give you more advice, more ideas of what to do with the children. Don't stay home and think, now what do I do with these kids? And especially don't give them the iPads and the iPhones. Let them leave the devices and work on being I mom, I dad, I daughter, I son, right, Mape?
Thank you. Let me just come in there. Thank you so much for making that point. You know, we as parents, we have to lead by example. You
Right.
know, we have to lead by example. There's nothing, we cannot be doing something else and we expect children to do
True.
something else. If you
True.
look at it, the world today, we are so we so in our devices are like our gods. We cannot live without it. If you check the number of time you're on your device, it will tell you that you're on your device about 10 hours a day. And then if you ask
Right.
the question, if you're on your device for 10 hours, what do you expect from your children? So this is also an opportunity for us to be disciplined and keep our devices away, because if we want to tell the children that keep your iPads away,
You
keep
have
your
to keep
phones away,
yours away
we have
too.
to keep your own phone.
True.
So one of the things that we can also do during this period is also to create a possibility where we can say we are four of us in the house. Who is collecting funds during this period? Because this time period is school time. And when we say school time, it means there's not supposed to be noise. It has to be calm. We need that kind of environment to learn. Who is collecting the funds? So tomorrow, who is collecting the funds? And in this way, we kind of like discipline ourselves, and we also teach our children that there's a time for everything. There's a time to learn, there's a time to eat, and there's a time to play, there's a time to do other things. So maybe coming back to the last question again, there's one point I left out that I'm just thinking about it now. It's very important through play we can actually instill our in our children the importance or the culture of writing whatever thing that happened in a day, or using a diary. So we buy a diary for all of us, and you keep writing. So you teach now that during the day you write amazing things, what you found interesting, and what you think you learn as a lesson, and maybe some of the mistakes you make, because in that case they keep a record of all the activities or all the things that they've been doing during this period. So sooner or maybe later they can have a track of all of this, because
Yes.
don't forget that all of these things that is happening is going to stick in their memory. So the
True.
question is just like we say, raising children. I mean, raising children is just like contributing what we have in Cameroon, Njangi. I mean, if you contribute 10,000 francs, that's just what you're going to get. If you contribute 100,000, so the more you invest in them during this period, that
The
is
more
what
you
you're
get
going to
back.
get.
True, true. That's a good point. The more you invest in the children, the more you're going to get back as well. They soak in what you give them. So remember to stick to positivity. So many activities Mappy has listed here, which you could do with the children. So focus on making sure that it is active time with them. The activities is active time. They learn by example. So if you keep your devices away, they will keep their devices away as well. So at the moment, so many parents are working from home, Mappy. How would you help them? How do they manage or balance working from home and parenting at the same time?
Yeah, that's a very key question, and it's quite. I mean, for more. I mean, it's quite a very challenging period now, because we used to do the work in the office. Now we find ourselves home, and we have to do the work home, and then we are faced with the situation now that we have to be teachers of our children. We have to still do the normal things that we used to do with the family. I think as a mother, each and everyone, I cannot speak for everybody. We just have to find a balance. You need to find a balance, because when they talk about home office, it means that you are independent. You choose the time you want to work, and I mean, you know exactly what you have to do. So that implies that you need to set the goals according to the way you want it. But the most important thing, I think, in this aspect, I think we have to organize a space for work and schooling also for kids. And then, but we have to give room so that when the children have a question, they can come up to us and ask those questions. And I mean, between husband and wife, we can actually figure out that, I mean, just like kids, they need time, a quiet time, silent time to for school. We need that time. So how can we blend these two things? I mean, we all have the same interest. So parents have to maybe figure out who is doing what at a particular time. Even if we're doing it parallel, it will give room so that they can come up to us and ask their questions, and then we
Questions.
give them the answers. You
Right.
know, I mean, I think I can't speak for everybody, but we it's just a matter that we all of us have to evaluate it, and then most important thing is what is our priority? Our priority at the moment are the kids. I mean,
Right.
dads are also home now. I mean, in the past, that's uh, most often in most cases dads are not home. So now they have the rare privilege also to step up their games, to know their children more, to get close to their children, and and just one aspect. I mean, the fact that we're home, I'm just giving it's just by the way. I mean, the fact that we are home, I think it is very important that we as parents, we should also understand that it is important for us to project ourselves the way it would. I mean, the way that our children are used to seeing us look good, look wonderfully well. We shouldn't throw ourselves and just be in some nice pajamas and
No.
just some kind of funny dresses. In as much as you want the children, I mean, in the morning, what the children should be dressed in the attires that they used to wearing to go to school, like in the case in Germany. And those
Exactly.
that, like those who are in Cameroon, they wear their uniforms. Mothers, parents should also dress clean and neat, because I mean we shouldn't we because there's a saying that, I mean, the way you project yourself, the way you are, it sends out positive or negative energy. I mean,
True.
we're used to wearing makeup, just feeling good, smelling good. We shouldn't throw ourselves. This is also the time for us to smell good, to look good, for our children, and also
Exactly.
for because
Good
if you
point.
walk into a classroom, if you walk into a classroom and that you're looking tattered, the children are going to laugh at you. So it's very important that we take into consideration that, and also even after school hours, parents should understand the kind of dressing they want to wear. This is a completely different thing. Like for instance, I know some parents, they are used to wearing some of these boxer shorts that project their bodies and all of this. We should understand that. I mean, especially when you have children, teenagers, who are at this age where they want to experiment certain things, please, we should not also expose our bodies. I know that there are some mothers also sometimes, we always want to dress even in front of our children naked. I think I'm just cautioning that we have the chance now. Most of us are home, all of us are home. We should try to see that there are some etiquettes that we have to teach.
Exactly. Exactly. So thank you so much, Mape. I was flashing the comments. My team is working hard in the background, ensuring that the people get the comments that are coming through live sessions. A lot of compliments, great people acknowledging what you're saying, admitting that it's going to be helpful for them, telling how interesting it is. Thank you so much for the tips. But now I turn to, let's take Sivan, my sister, medical practitioner. She's a medical doctor now at the hospital. The kids need to learn more. So what are we saying at this point? What do the medical practitioners, how can they support their children during this crisis with them not being that available?
When we talk about, yes, when you talk about medical practitioner and about your sister, I know she's a wonderful mother. I've had the chance to stay with her in one house in your house, of course, where I noticed how great she was, and I was like, wow. There are some people, some mothers, some people have always. I don't want to criticize anybody. Some people always, some of us sometimes we take our career so important more than the children. But I saw a very positive aspect of her, that she was so motherly. She took so much time playing with the kids. I mean, it was something very positive. Well, coming back to your question, I think it's depending on how the kids are, or how old the kids are. I have adults, and I'm not a medical practitioner, but I think everybody who is in the medical field, they have a huge knowledge about the COVID-19 more than you and I, and they understand the importance of preventing themselves, for their patient, for their
The
children.
kids,
But
right.
we know that there are some symptoms. We know that there are some symptoms that that you cannot. I mean, it's not feasible, so you can only notice those symptoms quite late. But I think what I would advise the parents who are in the medical field is to continue doing what they are doing, because I know that they're there at the front line for the people. But all they should know is they have to prevent themselves and reduce the close contact with their children. It's quite important. They have to reduce the close contact with their children. And also, I've had some medical practitioner who stay also in the car. They stay in the car because they want to prevent their children from any unforeseen circumstances. So I mean, I think they know more than I do. So they are in a position to explain better to their children. And if it is possible, in the moment where they cannot have contact, that direct contact with their children, they can use online. They can go on phone, on video calls, video chats, and talk with their children, and try to do some of those things that they are supposed to do with their children, and also explain the need. I know there's a need for them to have a routine with their children. It's quite challenging. I know there's a need for them to have a routine, but then what we have at this moment, it doesn't permit them to have that routine. So they have to figure out the possibility of, maybe having phone chats with their children regularly, talking to them on phone, and, trying to create a possibility that, the children will not feel their absence so
Right,
much.
right.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of comments coming in. Also, communicate a comment there from Barry Bingwe Mooring. That's what's eating the African communities, chasing career and money, and losing the connection to family or kids. So again, the main focus, the center should be the family, the kids, and then career can come after that. Thank you, Barry, for seeing with that as well. And then we see a lot of people following. Joel is following as well. Malingo, Joelo, very interesting. So the tips and all the advice you're giving is falling definitely on ears, listening ears. Now, if a child presents symptoms of this novel virus, how should a parent act at this moment?
That's a very tricky question, but I would say the first thing I would say as a mother is we have to, we shouldn't panic.
Right.
That's the first thing. You shouldn't panic. You have to relax. You have to observe, because in every situation, even normal flus, anything you have to observe, take precautions, keep the child warm, keep the child, give the child some basic, treat the symptoms first. For instance, if it's a cold, you call the doctor, you talk to the doctor. If it's a possibility to give the child warm tea, some we in my house here we take a lot of concoction, like we take ginger drink. It depends on now the age of the child, but it's important that you call the doctor so that you treat the symptoms. But the most important thing is, like if the child has something like cough, you have to give the child cough syrup, Hustensaft. You have to give the child that. But we shouldn't panic. We shouldn't panic, because when we panic, we lost it all. We lost it all. So we shouldn't panic. And I think, I know that it's also possible that when the child is sick now, maybe the child might, depending on the age, might say, "Oh, Mama, do I have coronavirus?" and stuff like that. It is for the mother or the parents now to tell the child not to panic. It's just a mere virus that you have. You don't need to worry. You'll be okay. So you just stay in contact with the doctors. I think that's the most important thing. And you keep, I think the most important thing also is to just let children understand that they have to. I just want to let parents understand that they have to be calm in this situation, because there's a lot of panic going on. If you look at the social media, there's a lot of things you see that you get panic. You don't have control over it as a parent. It's normal, but if the child is sick, please, you have to calm down. Do not panic. Follow hygiene procedures. It is just important that the children understand that they need to wash their hands many times. They have to wash their foods before eating. They have to constantly. They don't have to hug. We're just in the house, but there are certain things you explain it in the basic as possible, in the simplest.
So they shouldn't panic. Like every little cough now, oh, you think, oh, that's the virus, you've got it. But if seriously they present symptoms which indicate that they have the virus, you don't want to keep them longer for fear of infecting the others. Definitely, you want to call the nearest test centers to you in Germany. The Bundesamt has got a lot of test centers. So you would want to get in touch with these to ensure that these symptoms are really either the coronavirus or the COVID-19 or not. But do not panic. Do not panic. Like every little cough, you just lock the child up. So, of course, we're seeing with you and we're using our normal, garlic, ginger, lemon remedies. The moment you suspect that it could be the COVID-19, that is when we take serious action to getting the children tested. I see with you there, Marty, and I really believe strongly. But if the child now really tests positive, it will be difficult for the parents because they know they want to hold the child, they want to hug the child, which you cannot do. What advice can you give now to a parent whose child effectively tests positive? What do they do?
The only advice I'll give to the parent is self-isolation. I mean, because it doesn't mean that you're tested positive means that you have to continue to spread whatever. It's self-isolation. It's self-isolation. That is the only way as of now. Because it is important for self-isolation so you don't infect the other members of the family, and it doesn't mean that if one person is sick, every other person is sick. I know this couple where there's one person infected. I think the father is infected. The father is self-isolated in one room. Nobody goes there. So, I mean, the most important thing is just to try to explain to the children to understand that just like a normal cough, when you have a cough and a cold, you always try to keep the children away so that they don't also get infected, So the only way is self-isolation. I don't know any two ways, and you shouldn't be afraid. You shouldn't be afraid. You should just be patient, and then you have to be positive to know that everything will work out well. Because I mean, sometimes we say a lot of things place more impact on our psychology.
True. Impact on the psychology is true. So, as Irina Sandy says, do not forget to pray for them as well and encourage them throughout the period. Involve mental intervention as soon as possible, or as soon as you've determined it's more than a regular flu. So, thank you, Irina Sandy, for the contribution. I just seize this opportunity to say hello to Barry, who is contributing very strongly. Crystal Can, Bisong Ara, contributing also very strongly on the program. Joello, contributing very strongly on the live video here. And of course, yes, Bisong Ara says, apart from all the medication, let's keep praying and cover all families with the blood of Jesus. Yes, cover the family with the blood is very, very important. Now, what kind of support and how could teachers sustain their students' education during the lockdown? Parents are having to be teachers now, but how can the teachers sustain this education at the moment?
Can you take the question again? One more. I didn't get the question.
Oh, sorry. How can parents sustain the teachers? How can teachers sustain the parents during this time and, help with the education of the children? Can the teachers help in any way?
Of course, sure. In a case like Germany, we have a lot of. It's quite organized. We communication with parents. We have to communicate. Parents have to communicate with the teachers. It is just communication because they have a series of homework. So parents have to reach out to the school to get this homework. There are online classes, a lot of things to do, and it's well organized wherever you are. Just go on YouTube. They have a lot of learning materials. Go on Google. It can help. While I was doing my MBA, there are a lot of things I did not understand. Google YouTube helped me. So we should make use of some of those things. And let me go back to your last question again. The last question again. I think it's important also for an infected parent to understand that they have to follow the basic hygiene, which implies that if you're sneezing, you sneeze under your elbow, and if you're coughing, you cough, and so yes, that's right. Or an infected child, it's important that they know that we don't share utensils like spoons and all of this. But right. I hope the last question was answered.
Yes, it was. It was. We're just trying to find out how teachers can sustain now, the students, the children when they're home, or at least, help the parents who are not really teachers. I mean, it's easy let me say, for someone like I have always been teaching my son and my nephews. So this is just a prolonged period of being a teacher. There are parents out there who are not very good in math, maybe, and then you have the students have math at home. So they need extra help to be able to go through the teachers'
Agree.
work. So I believe, yeah, if the teachers can connect with them somehow, even virtually, what, etc., they can help, the students during this time, right? So just looking further.
Yeah, yes, I agree with you. I think one other thing they can do is just to do like you check they can learn a lot online with these educational videos. It is a lot in there, and even if it is not enough, you can form learning groups. It is very important that parents with children of the same age group should form learning groups, so that online it gives the opportunity for the children to have an exchange, to have this constant exchange, and they stay in contact. Learning groups is very, very profitable. You understand? So it's very important that they go online, they check these learning videos, they look at them, and then they find someone who can also teach the child. Like you said, in math, if you look at the network, you might have a lot of people who are quite they're quite good in mathematics. You ask them, somebody who's good in some other subject, biology, they will have the question. The problem we have is the fact that we as parents, we don't make use of the people we have around us. I am inside this house. I think basically, even though I'm on sick leave, I have had very few calls that some parent is calling me to tell me that, I don't know, what do you think? What do you think I can do? And you have to get my advice. And I know there are a lot of people, like you mentioned about Mr. Joel Aswange. That's somebody who's very good in mathematics. I don't know whether the people who are in his network, they can make use of him. So
exactly.
The whole thing is for us to understand, to look at it critically, ask ourselves, what do we need to support our children at this trying moment? What do we have as resources? What can we get from outside? Then you go, we check the videos online, we use our network, and so on and so forth.
Exactly. Good. Using our network. If anybody needs help in mathematics, send me a WhatsApp message. Get the children in touch with me, and I'll be a maths teacher for the rest of the lockdown period. I'll gladly do maths for the kids, or at least teach them virtually. Now, going on to something else, the younger kids. The younger kids do not fully understand yet what's going on. I'm looking at kindergartners. How do we explain to them what is going on in the world and all this coronavirus? What are the best ways to pass on this message to them?
I know that question is making me laugh. It's not the whole thing is just like, how do you? It's in a very simple terms. How do you explain to the child why? Why do you ask the child to? Because children always are very inquisitive. Mommy, why do I have to brush my teeth with this toothpaste? It means that there's a reason why you have to watch. Just that explanation you give to a child, that to avoid caries, you have to brush your teeth with toothpaste. So that is we have to explain in very simple terms. Children are not very complicated. In very simple terms, and they are going to understand.
Right. And what is academically required now for different age groups and classes? I'm looking at parents know children go to school, but sometimes they're not very sure what it is exactly the children are doing at school. It is now for the parents to understand through their books that this is effectively the level of studies my child is at. Looking at the German school system and the Cameroonian school system, how can you, in a very basic way, Mape, explain to the viewers what is actually hidden behind the German school system? Just enlighten us a little bit, using Cameroon maybe as your comparison measures. Or I don't know, just tell us how the German structure is for different classes, different age groups, etc.
Okay, I think if I understood your question well, it's about the German educational system.
Yes, the German educational system in a basic way.
The German educational system, I think if you look at it critically, you have what they call the primary school, which is Grundschule. Mm-hmm. So when you have the Grundschule in Cameroon is just the primary school. You know, you
Right.
have you also have nursery school. The educational system starts with nursery school. The
Mhm.
nursery, you know, the nursery with us here, you know, we have nursery here in Cameroon, you also have nursery. But now the difference between the nursery here and the nursery back in Cameroon is the fact that here in Germany, you know, nursery school is only a place where children go and play. They play, they may talk about basics like colors. They may talk about some colors, but don't get into sounds. But if you have, then if you go to the nursery in Cameroon, and they talk about, no, sorry, they talk about basic like animals, colors, you know, just the basic things about the world, the human being and stuff, basic things. But if you go now to Cameroon, it goes a bit further because they start talking about sounds. They start talking about sounds. That is a huge difference. But when you leave nursery school here and you go to primary school, everybody goes to primary school in Cameroon. But the primary school in Cameroon is a bit like they stay 6 years, whereas here we have just 4 years. And here in Germany, you have just one teacher that takes a whole class from class 1 to class 4. And that is a fundamental part of a child's life in Germany. You know, whereas in Cameroon, everybody, you know, everybody has each class. I don't know how many teachers they teach in each class, you know, but you go to one class, two to class 6, and they have different teachers. But here we have just one teacher that takes a child all through, which implies that you know, there's a different way now they evaluate the content of education or the academics content in that respect, because they say the German educational system is like 50% school and 50% home education. When we talk about home education, it means it is purely the responsibility of the parents. So the question now will be, what about the 50% education that is from school? What is it? How does I mean, uh, how does what is the impact of this 50% education as far as children are concerned? The 50% education means also just that the one in school has, they do their own job, but parents now home do their own job, like they have some basic values to facilitate the smooth learning or teaching of children. There's some values that you are the one to follow up. If there's a homework also in school, you have to follow up. So unlike in Cameroon, where I mean, I think in Cameroon it's complete. I can't really remember, but it's completely a different thing, because then in Cameroon, even when your child is in school, most often teachers, no, parents, they have home teachers. They have home teachers, but those teachers, you know, they come home to support. It is purely the responsibility of the school. But here is 50% school and 50% teachers. So, which implies that at the end of the day, if they want to evaluate a child, they evaluate the child based on also the parental support, the parental activeness in school. When there are activities in school, are you part of it? Are you part of this joint events? Like, I don't know, there are many events that we have in school. So, but in Cameroon, it's a choice. You choose. If you want to go, nobody forces you to go, and they don't evaluate their child based on that. You know, so that the educational system here is the primary educational system here is completely different from that in Cameroon. And when you go now, the one aspect that is very important for me to mention is a factor of empfehlung, recommendation. The teacher who takes you from class 1 primary school to class 4 has is the one who has to like recommend which kind of school you are supposed to go. You know, in Cameroon, everybody goes to primary school, and the goal is what everybody has to go and write advanced level. It could be a technical advanced level or the general advanced level, but predominantly everybody, the goal is to write advanced level. But at this stage now, primary school, when you leave after primary school, the teacher recommends a particular form of school. It could be Hauptschule, it could be Gesamtschule, it could be Realschule or Gymnasium. I mean, I can't explain all of this, else it's going to take so much time. But it's just like you have, there are different lanes. Just, I mean, for those who might not understand the German school system, just understand that there's a 4-lane, which is a very fast one, a slow one, a slow and slow, and a very slow one, because the education system takes into consideration children who are slow learners. And at some point, the most important aspect for us to understand is the Hauptschule and the Gesamtschule or the Realschule. I mean, when you get to class 10, you can leave from there and go and learn something, can get to another profession, say maybe a vocational profession, and you learn something. But in Cameroon, it's like everybody, okay, sorry. I think I'm trying to mix up something. Hauptschule and Realschule, you have that Abschluss, 10th class Abschluss. And after that, you can do some kind of vocation. So whereas Gesamtschule, you can go up to 12th class, and Gymnasium, you can go up to 12th class and write what they call advanced level, which is Abitur. And maybe the point I should make here is, in Cameroon, predominantly, maybe about 90% or 95% of everybody who goes to school writes advanced level, writes what we call Abitur. When I tell my colleagues here, they don't believe it. But if you look at the German population, we have just about 2% that ever went to university, which implies that it is structured in a way that they look at the competence of a child and they foster that child based on his or own competence. So that is the difference. So the German school education is completely different from the one in Cameroon. So, but maybe another aspect I would say, if you remove a child from Cameroon and bring here, maybe sometimes it's possible that that child can just fit into a class, but at some point that child will have sick problems, because here they start with the basic thing. But sometimes in Cameroon, if you look at the educational system, sometimes I have the feeling that it overloads children at some particular age, that if I were somebody, I would say that part, children at a certain age, they need to play, they need to just play without thinking about school,
Right. So thanks. Yes, that was a very beautiful one. Trust me, I'll be going back to watch this again to listen more detailedly to that. We have a question from Cheryl Tatapondasi, and she asks, what about a mom with a kid having a disability?
I didn't get you well.
What about a mom with a kid having a disability? That's a question from Cheryl. How to?
Yes. A mom and a kid with disability, they get support from the state. I think with all of this, all of us are vulnerable, but that is the most vulnerable group. And because they have their activities well defined and well organized, that they go for field trip, they go to the same schools, they do the same things. So it's difficult now to explain to that child, especially a child who has maybe some kind of disability, that it's difficult for you to explain to the child, okay, this is what is happening outside, so we cannot go to school because of this. So, but I think they are organized. The state is quite organized to that effect. Maybe they have to check to see what are the rare activities that they offer as of now. I think there should be something. There should be something.
Okay. All right. Now, I was actually thinking of something else that you spoke. Children are home at the moment, and although we restrict their time on the internet, we tend to give them the much time now on tablets to learn and research, which exposes them to harassment and cyber criminals. How can parents manage or protect their children from cyber criminals?
It is just discipline, and you start by you, a mother. You as a parent, we have to discipline ourselves. You cannot be telling a child something else and you're doing something else. When we give at the beginning, I said we have to have routines. If we have routines, there's a time for everything. It means that at the end of the day, those children will have very limited time for the tablets or whatever, and you are very right. It's very important for us as parents to control what our children, just a simple click on the phone. Children, sometimes they go into some of those websites that got a loan we know whatever thing is there. So, but it is important for us to, first of all, discipline ourselves, that we have a variety of activities, that we keep to those activities, we keep them engaged, we work with them, we keep them involved in everything that we are doing. Because at the end of the day, if you look at it from morning to evening, like that's the structure of the day. From morning, maybe they get up, they have a routine time, you have regular times that they get up, and they have times that they have to do their schoolwork, they play, and they do some online games, and you watch as a parent, you will not give them that room to do all of that.
Right, right. Now I'm looking at another angle. You're a mom and a pedagogue. What do you think at the moment you would tell parents? Because you mentioned the hygiene rules and you were very strict about it. But the problem is parents are finding it also difficult to adapt. What would you tell parents who are not able to adapt to these societal measures in place?
Agree. It's I mean, I think to it's not easy. It's a very difficult thing. As a mother, personally, I have two girls. Suddenly, we've never had this kind of program. We've never had it. I've been a very busy person that each day I work hours more than 10, 12, sometimes up to 14 hours. I've never experienced this kind of thing. Suddenly, children had their programs. They have a structure. They had a structure, a well-organized structure. Suddenly, they found themselves in the house. The only thing I'm going to say, we all have to be very disciplined. We have to be tolerant. We have to readjust. We have to be patient with one another. We have to understand that it will come to pass, because it's like everybody has to give in something, give in your ego to make it work. And we have to take care of our mental being so that we don't break down. And the only way to take care of our mental being is to adjust our activities to make them very suitable, to make them attractive for us, so that we have time for ourselves, so that we have time to do those things that we never had time to do them. So we have to look at it as a plus.
Right. Looking at that as a plus at the moment, trying to adapt, although it's not easy for everyone. I'm looking at the children's behavior now, Mape. Before the crisis, during the crisis, after the crisis, do you think the behavior currently of our children are better or worse during this? This is the fourth week of lockdown. How are the behaviors?
I think it's very difficult to really say how. Maybe it's very difficult being at home 24/7. Fact is, everything I'm telling you, I've not had a chance to really experience. Maybe some children. I have adults, and I'm just hearing from friends here and there. I'm trying to do some reading, but to talk about behavior, we have the opportunity now to instill in our kids, in our children, some of those things valuable that will sustain them now, because the world will never be the same again. So we are faced with a situation that we ourselves, we have to, we need to, I don't know how to explain. I understand that it's quite exhausting to stay home. It's quite frustrating to stay home, and you're not able to go outside. These are some of the things that we're able to go out, do our things, and catch up fun with our friends. Suddenly, you're not you're not able to go out. Kids are hyper. You don't know how to have control because they are all home. That
Mhm.
means that it implies that the job of the parents has increased. We have to be very, very strategic. We have to do a lot of evaluating, to reflect. We have to find out a way to exhaust them also home. So, and not exhausting them in a way that they will that will kill the interest of tomorrow. Find interesting thing like baking. What do they want to bake? What do they want to cook? Do sports with them. Carry out as many activities. This is a moment for us parents to sacrifice and do some of those things that we're not doing. It's a moment for us to reevaluate, to take stock. I mean, I look at it a plus. This is a God-given check, a check that you can fill the millions that you want to get, a blank paper that you can rewrite the story of your children. So we have to take this as a plus, give them values, give them time, give them valuable time, talk to them, listen to them, play with them, jump in sports attire and play with them like we've never played before. Do some of those things that we're not able, we used to rush behind. If you look at the past life we've been living, we rush behind our careers. We never had time. Our children, they don't even know us. We never took them out for a walk. We never talked to them. We never looked at them into their eyes. I don't know last time we look at them into their eyes. Those things speak volumes. This is an opportunity for us parents to do them. Let's not look at, it's an opportunity for us to, try to act positively in their lives.
True.
And
thank you so much.
It will never be the
same. It will never be the
same. It will be the quality of what we are going to invest in our children tomorrow, today, will show how they're going to combat this period, the aftermath of Corona. Because some people who, after this period, some people are going to go into depression. Some children are going to go into depression, God forbid. But then we have to create a balance. We have to make it in a way that they don't fall into it. Please, can you give me 1 minute? Let me take my charger. I think my phone is going out, please.
All right. Yeah, go get your charger. Yes, sweet. Well, we'll just give 1 minute for Patience Atanga, our guest of today, Mape, to get the charger and connect her phone. And then I'll bring her back onto the live stream as soon as I see the phone is ready. So she's made some very brilliant points, and I see you agreeing with her. I want to thank Goreti Echu connecting from London, Bisong Arada from Germany, Barry, who has been contributing a lot. I also see Malingo Juelo, who says good points. Hope absentee fathers are watching. Yes, very important time here in the life of the children and the life of the mothers, the fathers as well. Time for you to be able to reconnect. We will never have this time again. Use the point. I was actually just thinking, Mape, you made two very important points today. Having breakfast in bed with the kids. It feels like you saw us in bed today with our young boy. We're having breakfast in bed. And you just mentioned baking again, taking them into the kitchen. We just from baking a cake in the kitchen. So these are the things, when you speak, I feel the love, the intensity for the well-being of the children and the families. When did you last look at your spouse in the eyes, your kids in the eyes, hold them, tell them you love them, just play the joke, enjoy the time together, leave the fear out of your households. We could not have had a better guest than Miss Patience Gwekala Atanga, taking us live from Germany. I'm proud of Mape for all the tips and advice he gives in the African community. And you have a lot of you out there agreeing with what she's saying. So again, a great decision from us. And we thank you for honoring our invitation. As we carry on with the discussion, Mape, my team in the background is sending lots of messages and thanking you for being here to talk to the parents today. So you were making the point about using this time effectively at home, Mape.
That's right. That's right. It is. This is a period. I will just make a point here. How it feels, first of all, for me as a mother. I have two girls, and they're big people. They're big adults. It's different from having little children. But notwithstanding, the challenges are still there because what people leave their houses. They come and live with you. It's also a challenge, a huge one. So of course we have to readapt. We have to re-know ourselves. We have to find how a possibility of us staying together and just being there for one another, learning from one another. So this is how we deal with it. This is how we deal with it. We try to understand one another. We accommodate one another. We come up with a plan of the week, what we have to do from Mondays to Fridays, and we separate Friday, Saturday, and Sundays, because it's important for children to understand that this is Monday, Friday, Saturday, up to Friday, and some weekends have weekend activities. So we have to figure out the exciting activities that can really make our children understand that this is weekend, finally. Because tell you what, this memory is going to stick into them. So we have to make it as interesting as possible. We have to make it as interesting as possible. I was speaking with a mom I think the day you called me, and
Right.
I don't know if it's online. I actually sent it out. I mean, I sent this invitation to her, and she told me how frustrated she was. She was kind of like getting very depressed. But the one amazing thing she said was, I am never going to work full time again. I've been working through all along. My husband is working, and then we kept our children at the mercy of nursery,
Yes.
daycares, stuff like that. This is the moment I know my child. Now,
Right.
yeah. So it is it is just with one moment. I think my phone has a little problem, so I have to keep holding it since it's
Just place
connected
it,
to.
just place it. I think the audience or the viewers will wait a little while you get that, stable. Is it okay now?
Yes, I think it's okay now.
Okay, so you were saying this is
So
a moment which we'll never have again, yeah?
yes, this is a moment we'll never have again, and we have to make use of it. We have to make our children explore a lot of things, and our children as well. They are our teachers to teach us the German cultures, because they teach them in nursery school. So this is a moment for us to have that exchange. This is a moment. So because this is what we are doing, is quite frustrating with us big women in the house, But I know moms are working. It's not like moms are working. They're amazing. They are doing great to handle this situation, to manage it. And I know fathers also, they are also doing. But those who are not doing it, please step up your game. Step up
Step
your
up your
game.
game.
So step up your game so that we have it balanced, because it's not easy to have these children home. It's not easy to explain to them. It's not easy for them to adapt. It's not easy. There are many questions every day they'll get up and ask. So constantly we have to always reevaluate the day. Today we reevaluate today when we go to bed as parents, reevaluate it, look at it critically. What did we achieve our goals? Where can we improve? So
Right,
that
right.
every day is a new day. We come up with new strength. It's unfortunate that and we're fortunate that we are parents, but we need to carry the cross. We have to
Right.
carry it gracefully. So, like I was saying, this mother, I was about to tell you about this mother. She called me and she told me that she was very frustrated. And I just want to say, tell mothers that please don't be frustrated. Look at the things that can interest you. Go back to those novels you used to like reading. When you are making a program, a routine, create a period of time where you say everybody needs his or own time out, just to be quiet. That moment you read and read and read and read. Presently I've been reading one book, and that's one of my best novels. I've read it
Right,
many times. I've
right.
read it many times, and I'll still read it again and again. The power of a praying mother.
The
Oh,
power of a
parent, sorry. The power of a
parent.
praying parent by Tommy. It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful book. So that's definitely going to inspire you as a parent, so that when the things that you know that, I mean, you cannot take it, it's so challenging, you can pray over it.
So the power of a praying parent helps a lot in the family. That actually takes me to my question, which was going to be, what is the ultimate bond families can use? So if you have the power of a praying parent, read that again for your children. Mape, very valuable advice. I actually have a book here by Roland Quemen, The Impact of One. And there's a part here which says the responsibility of being parents. Being a good parent is really motivating, perhaps much more than being the JCI World President. It requires giving affection while being firm, cool, and being responsible, while providing to the material, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual needs. We must educate them. We need to teach them the discipline and the importance of responsibility. We must show them love because children learn from our example. Above all, we must share with our children our spiritual convictions. My mother always reminds me that between God and the children stand the parents. Are we walls that separate, or are we bridges that connect? That is from chapter 8 of The Impact of One. And I thought of you when I read this because you always talk about building bridges. It's a signature phrase of yours, Mape, to be building bridges. How do you relate to the fact that between God and the child is the parent?
I would say in one word, I have no legacy to leave on this earth than being a great parent. And my legacy that I want to leave for my children has nothing to do with my career, it has nothing to do with my education, it has nothing to do with anything but for the simple values. Am I an active parent? Am I a parent that who leads by example? I am not perfect, but am I a parent that knows my children, who takes out time for children? Am I a parent that I want children to emulate? Am I a good example? Because all of us, we aspire our children to be something, But the question is, what you want your child to be? Are you that person? It has this is a very it's a basic need for us to just understand that the things that are valuable are things you cannot buy from the market. Are
True.
things, if not any title, like you have to be a medical doctor, you have to be the biggest engineer, but are you a great mother? Are you that mother that is written in that book that you smile with children, you laugh at them, you laugh with them, you pray with them, you talk with them, not talk at them, you walk with them? Are you
Wait,
a father?
wait.
Are you a father that is there for the children? Are you a father who plays with the children, who carries them on the laps? Are you a father who cracks jokes with them, who tell them stories? Are you a father that children can run up to and fall on his shoulder and say, "Daddy, it's only you that can comfort me," and they cry on it? That is the legacy we have to leave for them.
That
It's
is
not
that
a career.
Yes, that is amazing, Mape. Like you keep confirming and reconfirming the fact that there was no other human I could have reached out to speak to both the children and the parents. You do this with love. It's been many years and you do it over and over with so much love and dedication. Are you that parent for your child? Are you that parent who your child will run to? Thank you so much for those words, Mape. I was looking at the statistics for today. Do you have any idea on the number of infected, let's say in Cameroon, of the COVID-19? Any idea on the statistics of today?
I think I have a rough idea. I don't know if they are quite current, but I have a rough idea. Peru, that we stand now at 1,700,000 and something thousands. And in Cameroon, we have about 820 infected. Germany, about 123,800 infected. I mean, the death rate in Cameroon is about 12. And I think in the USA, yesterday was about 2,000. In the UK, about close to 1,000 people died
Mm-hmm.
in the UK yesterday.
Within
And
the 24 hours, yeah.
the death rate in Germany is about 2,700 and something, 2,700 something as of now. Yeah.
Oh, thanks so much. You're following it, and that's what we're encouraging parents to do. Be it in Africa or in Germany, keep checking the statistics, understand what's going on, the number of people infected, the number of people who die, and the number of people who recover. Keep following the statistics. Mape, you already mentioned one good book, right? The power of praying parents, and someone was asking how to get it. Just go to Amazon and get a copy of the book. It is by Stormy Omatan. I get that there from Irina Sanji. You mentioned dancing. What kind of music do you like?
Wow. I love Cameroon music. I love every music from Cameroon. I mean, we have wonderful piece from other parts of Africa, but I love Cameroon music. I think I love a lot of Charlotte Panda. She's my kind of. Yes, I love Sister by Charlotte Panda. You know,
Sister
she's so
by
beautiful.
Charlotte. All right. Okay.
I love that woman. She's my star.
Right. So before we have your special message to the world, is there anyone out there? I know you're currently locked down with grandma and your two beautiful girls. Extend my greetings to your mother. Extend my greetings to Awa and Gekri as well. But is there anyone else out there you would like to send a word of greeting to?
I would like to send a word of greetings, particularly to this beautiful mother who called me, and she called me to say they have that, I mean, she's quite frustrated with motherhood. Mimi, if you're watching me live, thank you, darling. And I would like to give shout out to Dr. Azam Wara, the father of my children, the father of
Oh, we're losing the connection there with Mape. Maybe it is, if maybe you're coming back, Mape. Oh, I hope you're. I do
yeah,
hear
I'm
you
back
here.
again.
All right, you're back. Yes. You were saying
Yes, I'm back.
Mimi and Kwanti Azonwara. Yes.
Yes, and shout out to all my wonderful friends who are out there. I mean, I cannot call the names because if I have to call the names, we'll be here calling names. So I want to be transparent and to tell them that I admire them. I admire their selfless work. I admire their dedication. I admire the wonderful work they are doing. So they are a huge inspiration to some of us. So I'm sending a shout out to all the mothers out there, all the fathers. I love you all. I know that together we will use this corona period to add up positively in the lives of our children.
Yes, you have said that, you've extended the greetings, and just as a summary of today and what we've talked about, would you have like anything which is still there in your heart, which you would like to share with the viewers? You've had a very engaging audience today. It's usually the host and the guests that make a program very interesting, and you've had a very engaging audience, and you spoke beautifully. This is your mom and Mape to just pass on a special message without it being a question from me or any of the other viewers. Your special message to the world as we face this unprecedented situation of the pandemic, the crisis.
I would just say one thing. Thank you very much. I would say one thing. We should keep safe, keep a good mental health. You know, we all are in this. We are all inside, and we have to do our best to come out safe. So we have to keep distance. We have to respect the rules and regulation. You have to understand that you are not alone. We are all into this. If we did not have this rare privilege that you've created with us talking, I would have been in this house alone. So we are all in it. So the only thing I would say, everything works together for good for those who believe that there is a God. And we should know that at the end of this, we will never be the same again. And we should take take the lesson. We should learn it. We should take a positive lesson from this period and improve on our lives and understand that the basic thing that we need on this earth is to love one another. That's the biggest thing, because even you have if you look at Italy, and you look at the US, who would have imagined that a big nation of that would stand at this moment and lost a number of people? So please, let's make the best of life, and we put value, we put our interest on valuable things, on love, on each other. We see how we can add positively onto the lives of everybody who is around us, because we know that everything, life has proven to us, the coronavirus has proven to us that life is vanity, it is empty. We will all go someday, somehow. But the question is, how are you going to meet your creator? Are you loving one another the way you're supposed to love? I think that should be our message. That should be my message for everybody.
Are we loving each other the way we actually should be? Are you being a brother's keeper? Are you being a sister's keeper? Are you sharing positive vibes about people in your neighborhood, in your family, in your community? Are you a builder? Are you making sure you're putting the bridges there? So many amazing words from Mape. She said her favorite song is Charlotte Atanga, Sister. She sings with Yemi Alade. Mape, you were amazing today. Warm greetings from your little man, Akira. You have told us the values of being a great parent, and whenever and wherever I have always been, I have learned from you as a mom to be who I am today. Many mothers look up to you because your girls are wonderful, they
Thank
love
you
you.
so much.
My name is Miranda OBEN, ladies and gentlemen. Christian Atanga was with us here today. She has shared with you. You have all enjoyed her live session, and trust me, it has been a very enriching session with you, Mape. I play this song.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A big hug to my boy. Thank you so much. May God bless you and bless the works of your hand. Thank you. And thank you,
Amen.
Irene. And thank you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody.
Great, great, great. So, ladies and gentlemen, tune in 7 p.m. every evening on the Returnees Project page. We're having amazing guests talk to us. Tomorrow, we will be having Mame Denta. She lives in Germany. Tells about the different types of homes during the crisis. The home is not the same if it has domestic violence. So tomorrow we'll be talking to someone who has experience in that. We have other guests lined up during the course of the week, and during the month of April, my voice, Miranda OBEN, shall be accompanying you as we together fight the coronavirus pandemic. It's not going to get hold of us. Thank you all who joined in, and I leave you with some beautiful music. Warm greetings to everyone at home, Mape. Thank you to my team. Thank you to everyone watching. Enjoy the music. Yeah, 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 yeah. We never know, man. When even when I cheat, oh, I cry. It's a double no plan. We know. Who am like you? Too young. I got this from Kenny. And then you open you there. Mappy, that's my gift from Uncle Kenny.
Wow. Awesome. Beautiful.
You good there. So I want to thank all the dads, all the fathers playing an amazing role now, supporting the wives with the household chore, supporting their wives at this period. I want to thank all those great dads. It is amazing to have you because we can only shine this bright when we have you supporting us as well. And I thank you all. Thank you, Mape. Have a beautiful evening. Happy Easter to everyone. Happy Easter, Mape.
Thank you.
Happy Easter. Bye. You know the man. You know the man and we again.